Good afternoon, everyone. It's time for your daily Bible verse, and today we're going to read Jeremiah chapter 34, verse 17. Therefore, this is what the Lord says: You have not obeyed me, you have not proclaimed freedom for your fellow countrymen. So I now proclaim freedom for you, declares the Lord. Freedom the fall by the sword, plague, and famine. I will make you abhorrent to all the kingdoms of the earth. So, and we must go back a little bit to understand what he's talking about. That the Lord is talking about that King Zedekiah at the time, who was ruler, he was holding the Israelites in bondage, in slavery. And he's saying the covenant he made, everyone was to free his Hebrew slaves, both male and female. No one was to hold a fellow Jew in bondage. And then he goes on, he says, when he brought them out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, he said, any Hebrew who sold himself to you and served him 6 years, you must let him go free. But he's saying Zedekiah or his fathers did not listen to him. That he kept them in bondage anyway, ignoring that covenant that the Lord's saying. So, in 17 we see Lord's like, alright, you have not obeyed me, you have not proclaimed freedom for your fellow countrymen. And so he goes on, and it's kind of funny the way it's sarcastically written, actually. He's like, so I now proclaim freedom for you, declares the Lord. Freedom to fall by the sword, plague, and famine. It's kind of funny, actually, how that's worded. How it kind of got sarcastic there. Did you notice at times in the epistles of Paul, he got sarcastic too? You know, and people might say, well, that's mean. Well, you ought to understand something and the reasons why they got sarcastic. Because if people would preach on that and preach the way it was meant to be, people would understand the context and everything so much better. And so, but yeah, and then he goes on, the Lord saying, I will make you abhorrent to all the kingdoms of the earth, falling by the sword, plague, and famine. He's declaring all those things onto Zedekiah. A good verse that people may not think of right away, but also describes what our government, when they try to take our freedoms away too. You have a blessed day. Jesus.